Hi, this is Sheila with Conscious Conversation Central. It is Sunday. Ooh, that's right, Mother's Day, May 13th, 2018. Happy Mother's Day to my gal pals, my posse. Yeah,
To all the
that
mothers.
that day that they kind of made up to make everybody on the planet either feel guilty or no, I'm sorry. Oh, sorry.
Happy Mama Gaia.
There we go.
There it
I
is.
like that a whole lot better because she's not expecting me to buy her a gift and, take her out to dinner and whatever and what all. So I like the idea of honoring each other all the time, not because somebody said it was a specific day. That was my complaint, actually, BC. But that's right. I like Happy Gaia. Happy Mama's Day to Gaia. Okay, so anyway, so we're here tonight and we're going to talk about, I love the way we talked about it, actually, just be here now.
So we're just going to hang out with you.
Yeah, this is the show about nothing. Just being here now.
I love that. That should be, hey.
I do too.
That could be a thing. It worked for Seinfeld.
Okay, well, we're glad you were here. that was short. All the usual things in all the usual places.
See you next time. Lots of love.
Oh, you guys are funny.
Well,
well, but it is true. It could work. Well, but we were talking about because of my, I'm always reminded of my eyelash moment. The idea that, we're waiting for something all the time, waiting for this and waiting for that. And that's not very much like being here now. That's, some of the experiences that I've been having over the last month, really. I mean, really, come on. From the acid trips and the surreal bits and the staring out the window and I don't know, just becoming more expansive in my consciousness and more presence in the present. I liked the idea of talking about being present, and I'm all of a sudden very dizzy. So,
and there's a big shiny prize, which I'm tuning in. You may be starting to feel is that I don't know if that's the right way to describe it, but if you want to, if you're holding it about I can't wait till X, Y, and Z, or I can't wait to get my powers, or this, got the other thing. Or, crumbling down, whatever it is. And we've talked about predominant frequency vibrational energy and the neighborhoods you're in.
Yeah.
You can't ever get any of those things, arrive at, meet up with, bring from within, turn the light on, bring to fruition, catch the wave, be in the event, however you want to hold it, if you're not in the be here now, if you're not in that connection with you in this moment, and that it's just perfect. They not only are not compatible, simpatico, in the same frequency, gel with each other, resonate with each other. Trying to think of the way to describe kind of the pictures and information that's coming is so one way to say it is they're not a match vibrationally, but the you that is the you that brings those things forward, the you that fully turns those on, the you that lights and ignites and expands.
Well, she's frozen, and we've either lost her or.
Am I back? Am I back?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to see if I can switch this here. Sorry about that. Okay, how's that better?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. The picture's still a little disjointed, but it's better. Yep. Now you're in sync and everything.
Okay.
All right. So the you that can bring that forward is where you left off.
Okay. How many times did you hear me say you? Because there was a lot of yous in there.
I only heard the you to bring forward.
Okay. So the you that can bring that forward, that can connect with that can ignite that within you, that, you know, that which is already in you within you. I'm trying to think of trying to say what's coming to me to say, but that it'll make sense because it's not a hard-edged linear thing.
Mm-hmm.
It just goes away. So when we, let me take it the other way. So someone who is expansive and you know, committed to that and working on that and holds things a different way and can be in multiple streams of consciousness and perspectives at the same time, can have that expansiveness. It's the very point of the be here now that facilitates all of that. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So it's almost like it's, you know, if you were riding the rails on something that lets you navigate through something, or keeping your balance so that, you know, you can look over here and be in this consciousness stream and also in this, it's your, well, isn't there something in isn't a gyroscope something in the ship that keeps its balance? Am I?
Yes.
Okay. So, boy, I'm doing a really terrible job of this, but it's not well, if you don't do that, you can't have this, right?
Right.
And it's, you gotta, you know, meditate at 5 a.m. every morning, and you have to, you know, only eat spinach, and it's not like that. So I'm trying not to make it sound like that. It's integral to you and your uniqueness, yet it's a common, since we're all one, it's a commonality. So I think the gyroscope may be the closest way that I can get to it. That it's the be here now lets the gyroscope that is you, that can be fully versed in your multidimensionality, that can be let you be nimble and fluid and flowing with your quantumness, with multiple streams of consciousness at the same time, and or dual streams, and then go on from there to multiple streams. That the frequency of that, the essence of that, is what allows, facilitates, supports, enhances, expands, and makes it so. If that makes sense.
No, that makes perfect sense. I want to find something here. Please speak, because I want to share something that what I'm seeing in my head as you're talking about that. Okay, so I'm gonna share my screen now, if that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
I've given a lot of thought to this. Okay, so Magenta Pixie, if you guys can see over here in her video right here, this graphic that she uses, when you just describe the gyroscope, now first of all, this graphic has been everywhere for me over the last little bit. And I was sharing with Lisa, everywhere I look, I'm seeing this graphic all over the place. So I know that and based on what I've been taking in from hanging out with the two of you, I am very much aware of, our quantum nature and whatnot. But that gyroscope thing makes a whole lot of sense to me based on this graphic. And I mean, when I was saying hanging out with you guys, I've learned a lot about metaphor. And so I recognize that that's what that is on both that graphic and your gyroscope. And so that makes perfect sense to me, because the be here now is in the middle. Oh, let me just pull that back up again.
Okay.
That be here now is like being in the middle, right here.
Yeah.
And you'll notice you have access to all the paths from that center.
Yes,
point.
I do.
You could go anywhere or proceed.
Multiple anywheres.
All of it. Yeah.
Yeah. So anywheres, this way, this way, this way, this way, this way. Yeah. So it's that.
And the moment of now is the portal or the access to all of it.
Right. Well, it's not only the moment, but it's being here now. So, so when you're, part of it is because you're kind of, you jump out of linear and go out of quantum and go linear, because I can't wait till, well, first of all, when you're in that space, it's very incredibly energizing, incredibly vibrant, incredibly vivacious, and very fluid, relaxing, effortless at the same time. That make sense?
Yes. Yeah. And when you realize for the first time as you're sitting there, there's lots of humor in that moment. as you start feeling and seeing how all the kinds of ways that you've been trying to get your own attention.
Right. Right.
Because it can be very hysterical.
Right.
Listen, I've seen stuff over this past weekend that about myself and things I have set up around my own little space here, trying to get my own attention, and I didn't even know it until. So the humor in that is
the cosmic humor is absolutely delicious, and okay, sometimes really annoying, but it's not because it's not delicious. It's just because we're not getting out of our own way to, it's.
Yeah, maybe I'm the butt of that joke. It was still funny. Just a little painful.
Yeah. Well, again, but that's only because we've stepped out of that gyroscope be here now to.
Right.
But it opens everything. It changes everything. And I feel it's important that we, when we were thinking about where we wanted to flow, and, Sheila, you had a couple other things you said, no, I don't feel like that. I think this one comes up because it's simple, but when you're either not aware of it or fighting it, or you have the push me pull you on it, can be excruciatingly difficult to do. And a lot of frustration comes in from people because, it may show up in the, well, I can't meditate, or the this and the other thing, or, I was holding this space, whatever it was, and it was so delicious and flow, and now I can't do it. And so but the be here now also has a linear component in that, just to kind of fit in with that frustration and stuff, is that you're here now in this moment. So you be in this moment, whatever this moment is, not wanting to be over there, not wanting to be here, not, because in this moment, holds the power pack and the jet fuel for your, what did I say this was? Gyroscope. For your gyroscope to power you in the other things. So it's essential that component is in there.
Well, I know too that for me, it was important to acknowledge at every step, and still is actually, for me to acknowledge in the moments when I am not being here now, that is what has always happened in the past, and what, it's programming and conditioning and things that we were taught to do, the thinking about, the planning for the future, it's always something either off in the future that you have to plan for, you have to save for, you have to work towards, you have to whatever, all in the future, or lamenting stuff from the past.
That's right.
Well, that's pretty much all you get with as far as I'm concerned, most of the time. And so,
but can't you see the beauty in that?
Oh, yes. The beauty in dwelling on all of that, or the beauty
the beauty in the system set up to at every turn to and the reason for that is because if you be here now, we wouldn't be here now.
Oh, the cosmic humor.
I know, right? What a comedian. Wait till we find out who the writers were for this gig. Oh, wait a minute. It's us. Oh,
my God.
Yeah, it's us. And they're having a big chuckle right about now.
You just wait till I get to that campfire on the beach.
She says like she's not already there.
I know, right? Probably directing half of this shit. At least this shit over here. All of this stuff, actually. So yeah, I mean, you know, I just wanted to point that out because I still do it. And that's the thing. And so, but for me now, trying to always pull it, at least recognize it, that's half the issue. At least it is for me. And then it gets easier and easier to not do that.
Yeah, and I think each being has, well, can have, maybe they don't have yet, can have a way that they can pull themselves either back from the not being here now or fully into that. And, you know, it's different for everybody. For me, it's just taking a deep breath and soft focusing, noticing something. Nature's usually good. It can be, you know, inside. It can be a structure of some kind. But just for a moment, because that plucks me off of whatever else was going on and lets me center right here. So it's, you know, for some people it could be meditation, it could be all sorts of things. But you can do it in the middle of a conversation. You can do it in the middle of work. You can do it in the middle of driving. You can do it, you know, whatever it is that you end up doing, you can do it all sorts of places like that, right? Mm-hmm. And it's, you know, centers you back in that moment. Mm-hmm. And it's like, it turns all the color back on, all the vibrancy of everything back on for me. It, all the clarity of what's going on, but all the richness of other things. So I can be focused on one thing right here. Let's, you know, let's say if I'm doing a task at work, because a lot of people, you know, well, but I got to work. Well, yeah, but you can do this too, because it just is an nanosecond and it doesn't interrupt with the work thing. But right. It changes, well, it brings it brings you in sync with, maybe that's a good way to say it, all of your quantum capacity and nuance of abilities and multidimensionality of that right in that moment. So whatever of the things that you were doing comes through at a whole new level. And it makes doing things on different levels in quantum much effortless.
Well, as one who's just now actually getting to the point of that being here now, and have not as yet mastered remaining in that space on an every moment basis. There was something trying to come in while you were speaking in regards to that, and but I think I was doing that. Oh, okay, a grasping thing we were talking about a little earlier, and it drifted off. So that kind of sucks, but
Now you can see, just as a side note for only but the three of us, but now you can see what I was talking about, that if you don't grab it, it's easier to.
Right.
Yes, exactly.
Yes. Well, it does occur to me, however, that the being here now. Okay, so we were pulling that in, and in conjunction with the, you know, waiting for things to, oh, I can't wait for that sort of thing. So that's just it. The being here now for some, not all, certain, well, not for me at this moment. That's not my reasoning for not being here now. It's more I'm exploring being other places, I think, is partly my gig at the moment. But
that's okay. So you just said something that's interesting.
Oh.
So for me, partly because I'm having fun exploring other places. What I'm saying is, you are here now, right? Because you are exploring other places.
I see. Okay, you're right.
That's your, right? Your gyroscope to do that.
Thank you. My own analogy didn't even come right here. No, why? Because that's a program that just showed itself that this is the only real reality. That was a program that just showed itself for real. Wow, that was interesting. Thank you. Thank you for catching that. That was interesting. But what I was saying was that being here now, and for some, grateful that it's not me in this moment, but for some is a rather painful maneuver. And and had been for me in times past. No, can't escape that particular portion. And so, you know, even on some level that I may not have cognized at that point, the being anywhere else, even if it didn't matter at that point, might be a little better than being here now, so to speak. You know what I mean?
Right, and that's what I'm saying is, again, that on that gyroscope, that's the fastest way to get.
That's what I'm in agreement with you. What I'm saying is that because I hear, okay, maybe I'm not explaining it properly. Because of what it is I'm hearing a question, not a question, a comment, actually.
Yeah, a yeah-buts. There's a lot of yeah-buts. I got a whole chorus of yeah-buts.
Yeah, okay, so I did too. But so I know I'm not illuminating what I'm trying to say very well, as I have not gathered the vocabulary yet to translate what I'm feeling in the quantum into the linear, but I'm trying. So let's see. I know for myself in times past, now I couldn't have seen it then, but I know now that any of those moments where I just, you don't want to be there, or, you know, you can't wait for, or whatever. I didn't see it then as giving my power away to something else, or not having a handle or my arms around whatever my power, my situation. In every moment of not being here now, for me, I'm not saying that's for everyone, but I would invite anyone that's with the yeah-bets at this moment to really honestly ask themselves, because for me personally, I'm not saying this for everybody else, but for me personally, I now looking back on, and even just some of the ones that are most recent, it's still a matter of, because I want to make sure it's not, but it still very clearly could be that I am giving my power, my consent, or whatever away, my attention, my focus away somewhere else to that other than what I wish. So if there's anything like that going on for me, if there's something going on, and no matter what it is, and I'm freely, because it's not like anybody can take my focus or attention. I'm freely giving it, or whatever. You see, that's,
it's a choice,
right? And that is my power. That is my power. So yeah, just anytime, anything that removes me from that be here now is, for me, that's what it is. I'm giving that power away to something else.
Yeah.
Somewhere else.
And one of the things, I think there are a number of people who may have beyond in the part where they don't like where they are right this moment, right? And so they want to be anywhere but here. And so if you have an awareness of what we're saying, and then you can pull it into a knowing, that gives you the juice, that gives you the power, that amps up your power, that gives you the tools and the fortitude, perhaps, to take the choice and the steps to hold this now in a different way. And then there are others who whether they knew that was what they were doing or not, they're doing that a lot or most of the time, and just enjoying, how that's getting them to be and expand and, pull in their quantum and multidimensionality. And occasionally something will happen where they get out of sync with that. And so other things come up. Something may, seem like a thorn in your side is really bothering you, or things kind of come screeching to a halt in various different ways. And it's really a head shaker is, well, what just happened, or how's that going? And because it's so far out of your familial path and groove, like it used to be, the not being, right? That it's hard to discern what's causing that. And when the light, and I'm just speaking specifically about an issue that I've had that's work related in the last 2 weeks, where not all the time, but just in very pointed little moments, it's done that. And it took me a little bit of time to figure out what was, why was this so teeth gnashing, and because it's been a while since I've allowed that to happen. And boy, did I go with all the gusto and allow that to happen. It's like, this is, think of a plane coming down with turbulence and the wings catching on fire and the nose just blew up, and, and a gorilla's jumped on and is shaking it, it's like, what is going on? What did I miss? And so, there were a bunch of moments strung together where it was a very rough ride. And I did a thing. I did it was a process for what was going on at work, but it was mostly for me. I mean, I was giving it to them, but it was mostly for me. And in that moment, my gyroscope came right back online, and there was full articulation, and I thought, and it was instant. I finished the thing, so that I gave voice to it, and I reset my field, or I cleared the, I mean, a lot that all those are things are accurate. Cleared the field and had the full crystallization of knowing that that's what it was, that that I did that. Because there is no out there, which I know. So I'm looking around going, well, there is no out there, but, you know, missed that because it had been such a long time since I'd let something like that occur that I forgot's like the right word, but I just wasn't in. I thought, you know, where is this? But it would happen in just a moment when it came back in, and not only did everything change and flow and all of the turbulence and the grills and everything went away, but so many cool things totally unrelated to, you know, that thing out there, let's say, all of a sudden popped in, came forth from me and out of me. It was huge. I mean, it was like, you know, my own magic wand was, you know, popping bubbles all over the place. I'm going, whoa, look at that, look at that, look at that, you know. So I bring that up because you can be on either side of it. And as you get into the navigating and understanding that's a choice and that it's there and that it's the integral component, that gyroscope, if something does knock you off and you haven't, you have been predominantly in the be here now and flowing with all of that, directing all of that at choice, you know, and fully powered up in your power, not only can be one hell of a ride, but it can be kind of very disorienting as to what's missing or happened or whatever. And the last thing I'll say, that when you do get back, it's just sublimely delicious because all of you is giving you confirmation and carrots, you know, like if you're a horse or something, just this rich, yummy deliciousness just starts coming out because it wants to mark that return, that conscious, intentional, focused return on that so that it, my sense is now, for me anyways, will lock indelibly on any dimension, lock it in. And that will not happen to the extent, if at all, that it did just now.
Well, I'm looking forward to my own lock. I will steadily make my progress towards my own lock of that. I feel it coming. I'm delighted to say that I feel I've had a lot of progress for that sort of a lock to take place. I don't know how long it'll take, but I'm on my way. So that's cool. Well, yeah, you know, but like I say, I learn a lot when I'm not there. So that's cool. I'm cool with that too at the moment.
Yeah, well, that's kind of the point too.
Yeah,
we just don't like that this much.
No,
That is
not my
delicious.
fave. Not my fave. Could do without the $2.75 yarn sound.
Well, it's, you know, again, it's just another experience in contrast, and
yeah,
you know. But the other thing is that when you're on the gyroscope, you can visit those. You can, let's say, if they were a pool, you could swim in the pool of that without being totally knocked off. Does that make sense?
Oh no, that'll be delightful. I wouldn't mind that at all.
So you can. It's almost
that comes
like
with mastery, though, right?
Well, I don't know, stubbornness for me, but
Okay, well, that's what that is then.
Or not giving up, or whatever. I don't know the right way to.
I like
What I was going to say is kind of like if
persistence.
if you're in a room, let's say a house, okay, because it's a good metaphor, and there's a lot of different doors that you could open and see what's in there. So when you're in the be here now, when your gyroscope is fully articulating and so you can go in a door that you can tell just by looking at the door, okay, that's a moment in contrast, right, an experience. But at least you on a whole bunch of levels, if not the you right, in the t-shirt, is saying, well, yeah, man, that's good, let's go, it'd be fun. We can really expand and jump and up level, and you and the shirt's going, what are you, nuts? But you can do that without letting go of the gyroscope, because then it's a choice from a multidimensional sense, and a lot of you in the shirt is on board with that, even if you don't, as Sheila would say, have it right up front here.
Okay, so so then jumping back to Magenta Pixie's graphic and the gyroscope. So as you swim, you take the gyroscope with you down this, exit stage left or whatever it is, to that whatever door, that you're talking about, so that you're within the gyroscope. Is that what you're?
Well,
so that you're remaining in the center while you're swimming. Is that what you're?
That's correct. That would be the way I would describe it is you're in the center, and on her picture those rays went out, so one of those could be a door. You're still here experiencing multiple things, but you're putting a little bit more focus on that particular. You haven't lost your footing, you haven't lost the ability to do anything else, and you're fully being here now with your gyroscope, right? But you are also fully experiencing this other thing, because that's part of what multidimensionality is.
Right.
Instead of not having the gyroscope in the center, you go down a door and you forgot where the door you came through, and there's other doors, and you're like, okay, how do I get out of this
labyrinth?
And okay, so this just came in. So that's the magic button. That's the secret door, whatever those metaphors around that is, to make the gyroscope, even if you weren't familiar with it, pop right into being, because when you be here now, it comes back. It's like your gut, right? Does that make sense?
Yes. Well, I wanted to share this too. Now, of course, we were speaking about this off camera, but my sharing my thoughts with you in regards to Nassim Harameyn's ideas that we have a black hole at the center of the two chambers of our heart. And I was sharing with you that as our vessel's DNA changes, and it's sort of a rising up or an ascending, if you will, and the majority of our our soul sort of descends into the vessel and meets in the heart with the field and everything else. I don't know, there's something about that whole idea that it's from there that the projection that becomes our reality comes out of the black hole from the center of our heart. And so the be here now for me feels like that's where it is, right there. That's that gyroscope of which you talk about, and the reality that I'm experiencing, whether it be in this 3D moment of now with the two of you on this camera, or if I choose to exit stage left and go do something else, all at the same time, which I'm not adept at quite yet. Well, not really. But that's what I feel like that is. That's that be here now thing for me.
Mm-hmm.
That's not fully fleshed out. That's just the feeling that I have about that at this moment. My current thinking.
Yeah, that's part of, you could say that's the holding of you back together and the birthing of something new, because we've talked about this before. So you have the physical vessel, which is not what it was a month ago or 2 months ago or 8 months ago or 2 years ago or
2 weeks ago.
Right.
I know.
Well,
Yeah,
I was going to say like this morning. You're not who you were this morning, so.
Oh, that's right. Not by a long shot.
And and some mornings in particular, you're definitely not, by the end of it, with energies and expansions. So as your higher selves and your soul all come into you, the physical body is changing cosmically, infinitely. I don't know the right mathematical. There's a mathematical term for like in big ways.
Okay.
And what that does is it takes all of the denser linear space and systems and structure within the body out. They transform. They shift and they change into whole rewiring, realignments, reworking into totally new configurations. And so that's where the totally new thing is arriving, because it's not just, you're here and all the rest of you is coming in, but for that to happen, everything changes. So in essence, and in particular, you become a whole new being.
Well, based on my experience of today that I shared with you guys earlier, I would say that's a very real, that's exactly what's taking place.
Yeah.
Yeah. And not at all in a vacuum, I'm sure. Everybody's going to be feeling that.
And nobody's missing any ingredients that don't make that happen.
No.
Which is
but
nice.
I will.
Don't worry.
That's right.
It's all good.
So, so the be here now is a really big thing.
Yeah. It's kind of like your spaceship to get to where you want to go. And if you look around and you go, wow, I mean, this just blows in the most galactic size proportions. You have to work through that, and it's different for each being, to relax and let all of that resistance, that pushing away, all of that go, because you actually can, if you were in a room, you can see the walls transform. What is a solid wall turns into a window, and then you notice it turns into a door, one of those new, glass accordion doors that it doesn't have any, you just can pull it back and it's there. And it can do it really very quickly. You can, if you choose, you can make it take a long time and be very arduous and painful, but it's the key, because for a couple of things, that way kind of metaphors to say it is that when you're in the predominant frequency vibration that you're holding of don't want, get me the frig out of here, right? Is not a match in any way, shape, or form in this infinite lifetime or the next infinite lifetime or a couple after that to what you purport to be wanting. So you're just never going to be with, in tune with, have it create and happen. Not because someone's doing it to you, because you are that good, and those are the the rules of the creation game.
Yeah, no, they really are. And yeah, well, I've been holding up my own self from, I recognize that in this moment of now. It's been me standing in my way.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not.
One of the real beauties of it is that every moment of now, and exponentially more the next moment and the next moment and the next moment, the energies are such that they're expanding and uplifting, and the changes going on within you are such, having an effect, that every nanosecond of a moment it gets easier and easier and easier. In fact, you'd have to start swimming really hard with maybe a jet propeller pack on your back to swim the opposite direction, So there are many who have been in alignment with this gyroscope and known that and actively working it for a long time, and there was none of that. And it was, swimming upstream in molasses and, with a freighter hooked to your ankles, yanking you back the other way.
Yes.
So right this moment, and all those who did that, they actually were clearing a lot of that. That's one of the reasons, as we've talked about before, that you'll see everything breaking down and everything crumbling, because all of the beings keep raising and expanding, and that's making that happen. So it's an inside job, and we're all doing it together.
Well, that, for me, that actually brings up a really good point that I'd like to, as we're about to wrap this one up, but I want Lisa to chime in if she'd like to. But I wanted to say too, though, that so I no longer, well, I would say that, okay, so I used to feel very not bad. I was frustrated and all of those things, of course, with myself, because that we all do this. We compare ourselves to.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm the slow in the back compared to the two of you, is the way I realize that. I see you shaking your head, Lisa. I got that now. But that's not. But what I'm saying, though, is that that's a very real thing. A lot of folks think or feel that way. And I want to acknowledge the fact that, first of all, that's not so. Everyone's going to be doing this at their own, what the pace that is right for them. And I will say that for myself, every moment that we do be here now, every moment that I personally, for myself, make a realization about something I was doing to hold myself back, or see a program reveal itself, which I just did a moment ago. Every time we do any of that inner work, it affects everything out there. So every single time we ask ourselves, when is this, that, or the other going to happen? For me, I now know it's me I'm waiting on, not anybody else. It's all, because I think it's the way I feel about how we are. I know it's a collective thing too, because we are one and we are singular all at the same time. So I realize that there is a collective. This is, for all of these folks that want to say how we're controlled in all of this. Yep. Because it's the collective that they're controlling. So if you want to get that under control, get yourselves under control, right? We have to get ourselves under control so they can't direct it in that manner anymore, because they can't.
That's right.
So if you want to see it as a they thing, for me anyway, that's the way I'm looking at it. Firstly. But secondly, because everything's not happening in a vacuum, as I do find these things out for myself, it is reflected out there. And I feel like that's because that's the way it goes. I'm projecting at least my own personal reality.
Well, everybody who would be hearing this, playing with this now and in the pretty close now, are all path pavers.
True.
And forerunners.
Yes.
Right.
And so in doing that in your own space, at your own time, and making the choice of commitment to let your soul be your best friend, and all the things we've spoken about in various videos. You lock that in because there was someone said, well, I want to choose it now. Why do I have to wait? Well, because you set it up that way, because there's some delicious thing out there that from your broader, bigger, expansive perception is really mega delicious, that you want to go through and mine all of the yumminess out of it for expansion, because that's, you're just that good. That's how you play. And when you do it, then, maybe you'd set it up that that's the last thing, and then you click in, and now you're actively, intentionally path paving, right? But have you noticed, just while we're on this, have you noticed how things are speeding up? Not only the energy frequencies, but the absolute data coming thing, all these people who heretofore were, snoring and sound asleep are like, wow, they'll see one thing and it's like, and then, now their eyes can see something else that they never knew anything about and go, oh yeah, that makes sense, right? Well, so as more and more people get to their moments and they path pave, then it keeps going so that on the one hand, people can lament and say, well, there's all these millions and billions of people who are just like not getting it. But that tie, that energetic frequency event horizon is touching their fields, and was actually already starting to do it, incorporating that in so that it's, use the metaphor of all, tide rises all boats. That's what's going on. And so, and this ties into those people who have been thinking about, well, what am I supposed to be doing? What's my mission? So, well, this right here, this choosing, this be here now, this getting in your gyroscope and being able to hold that, because by the very nature of you doing that, you change everything within you, which changes everything. And it pushes it out energetically. And you can lay down all sorts of new paths in different ways that are uniquely designed for all bunches of different people to walk on. So you're making it easier for them and for you. And, it's the singular and the collective and the unifying one at the same time. And we're doing it.
Well, Lisa, I want to know what you have to say about this subject before we leave it, because you've watched me over the last, well, you've been here now with me over a year. So, well, we're coming up on 2, aren't we?
Yeah, I guess we can. Well, to me, first of all, I cannot top perfection. So let me just say thank you, BZ, for all that you have said. Because I agree with you wholeheartedly. And I love the noticing part. Because I think that's what facilitated some of Sheila's big breakthroughs. We're noticing them. Because honestly, they were always there.
Right.
And I think that's what we've been trained not to notice.
Mm-hmm.
And so it requires effort to notice. But like, you know, with anything else, once you make it a habit. And for me, one of the ways that I notice is even how my body feels.
Mm-hmm.
And I've noticed you tuning into your body too. So I think that also helps to stick for me, because my body is here now. And there's always something going on. So like my breath or sometimes I'm just in the process of catching myself being out of my center. And what will bring me back is, you know, that feeling of being uncomfortable. And then that reminds me, oh, wait a minute, I'm feeling pain. What that's telling me something. Hold on a second. And I'll really spend time noticing how my body feels. Because like the pain will draw me to my body. And then the noticing the pain or whatever it is that my body's, you know, trying to scream at me. If I tune in with that, everything I need to know is usually pretty present there in that envelope. Oh my God. Oh, BZ. I was thinking about the question you asked me earlier. Anyway, so yeah, pain is a great way to bring one back to that moment of noticing and connecting and centering, because that is where all of the answers are. Yeah, isn't that delicious?
You mean the question where I said, have you had a conversation with your body about this? Yeah. That one? Yeah.
Yeah. I just thought that would be funny, and that was what I chose to add. Thanks for the reminder.
But looking at your whole, you know, energy and your colors, you did it at one moment, you know, after we were talking about it, because it's changed a lot of stuff.
Yeah, no, I do feel, yeah. Well, it only takes a second, right? I mean, but you got to first realize.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to say too that, oh man, see that it went right out. Oh well, must not have been meant to be said, apparently. Oh, yes, it is. Yes, it is. It was exactly. Well, Lisa, you said that we actually we don't notice, and then you said I think you also said, and we're actually trained not to notice. And I wanted to add, and then we also allow ourselves to be distracted, and well, yes, and the suppression as well.
So well, and this is suppression and distraction and
all in one.
You down, you know, it's a multi-use tool. Not at all what it's for.
I will say, however, Friday night, when I was having my my experience that I shared with the two of you off camera, I became very aware of that suppression / distraction tool energetically in my field, and I batted it away. Now, I have nothing I can point to say, you know, or to prove to you all that I did that. But I can tell you that energetically, I felt that I had.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's you're beating your core of knowing.
And so I I really feel very distinctly that there's, you know, but that takes a lot. I mean, that was I was teeny tiny at that moment, you know, and everywhere. So that was that. That was when that was occurring. So I don't know if that's, you know, that could be part of it. But anyway, so I just wanted to add that. And I wanted to thank you both for this conversation because it's been helpful to me.
Me too. Very much.
Yeah. All right. Well, yes, all the usual things in all the usual places. I have nothing new to add except that if you would like to comment, of course, we would always love to hear your comments and you know, and I guess until just next time. Thank you.
Much love.